Hello, good afternoon. It is the Daily Live Extra here on Toffee TV. James and myself going to be talking about Goodison Park and what the future holds for Goodison Park after some news come out on Friday about the prospect of the Everton women's team playing at Goodison Park. We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. Yeah. Did you miss footy this weekend?
You know what? I was saying this to Baz that, normally I think when Everton are playing well, an international break or a break in fixtures comes around, normally I'm a bit more gutted, especially because Everton are playing well. But I think with sort of looking at the Everton team, and how just naturally look and the potential for players to come back, I was sort of all right with a break this time, even though we are doing so well. But I would have liked to still be in the FA Cup.
Yeah, when you see how the FA Cup's shaking out, it would have been nice.
Some of the teams that are through.
But at the end of the day, though, talking to someone over the weekend about this, we put our best team out and we were beaten comfortably, really, by Bournemouth. So it's not like we put half a team out and you can look back and go, oh, what happened there? You can actually go, well, we were beaten by a better team, and it is what it is. It's shaking out so that a lot of teams who wouldn't maybe normally get this far, or there's not obviously some of your big hitters in there. But it is what it is. It is what it is. No, do you know what? I do like a break now and again, and I know we're going to have a couple of weeks of footy, and then we're going to have another break also, aren't we? But no, I normally am made up for a break, but this time I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind going to the match today, which is weird, obviously, which is weird.
But how it's been as well. Sort of you're looking forward to breaks at one point in the day.
I've always been. I don't, because we work in what we work. A break for us is it's nice to have a break now and again. It's nice that it's not always just a monotonous. So it is nice to have a break, because it is it's like you do get a proper weekend, but it's whether you choose to do anything with that. I didn't do anything with my weekend, so maybe if I'd done something with my weekend, I would feel maybe a little bit different, but still just getting over. Just got a little bit left to get over on the illness. So you probably heard it in my nose. It's in all of my sinuses. So it is nice, but as we mentioned, Everton. This story came out through The Athletic on Friday about Everton women playing at Goodison Park next season. There's a prospect of them playing at Goodison Park. So, just to give you, I asked a couple of people who were a lot closer to the Everton women's team than I am to give me a little bit of context to where this story maybe had come from. First of all, I reached out and asked whether it's true. And it's one of the possibilities on the table. It's not a done thing, it's just a possibility. So then I reached out to a couple of more people who again have got a lot more understanding than I have about the situation. So a bit of context. So apparently the WSL are going to, for the sake of professionalism and for the sake of making the league better, they are going to make it so that the attendances are higher within this. You must have a stadium with a certain amount of seats or whatever within, and I think it's about 7,000. So Walton Hall Park, where Everton play right now, that's not fit for purpose for that. That only holds 2,500, and Everton are not willing to expand that simply because Liverpool City Council own that stadium. Anyone who knows who's old enough will know that is Liverpool schoolboys' pitches. That's where
I used to do Peter.
Yeah, that's where Liverpool schoolboys and a lot of the finals used to take place around Liverpool. I think the offices for Liverpool, the county FA, are just there at the back of the sports centre as well. I know because I had to go in there years ago to pay some fines or something when I used to run a football team. So they're looking at upping it, and that Everton are not prepared to put money into Alton Park. They don't own it, so what's the point? What Everton are committed to, though, is, and the Friedkins are committed to, is spending money on the women's team. And we know as soon as they came in that they brought in players, and those players have already started helping. They won yesterday, beat Aston Villa away, really, really good win at Villa Park as well. That was a really good win, and I know that the results have picked up and the performances have picked up because they've brought in some good players. The Everton's women's team is absolutely gutted through the situation. You know, they really did take a hit. Now, of course, with the Everton's women, there's no PSR attached, so no one has to worry about anything like that. So obviously Everton now are looking, I'd imagine, for larger areas to have a stadium. Yeah. So Goodison Park is obviously come up because obviously Everton own that already. So that's the crux of it, essentially. Everton women will need a bigger ground, and Everton are not willing to put money into Alton Park. So obviously, with Goodison Park there, that's certainly a stopgap. I'd say an opportunity, maybe
for like a few years,
for a couple of years, as it is, to play there, get round any kind of situation that's coming in. And go from there. So I really would like to hear people's opinions on this, on Goodison Park, and whether it remains as it is right now. This is my opinion, right? And I had a couple people on Twitter have a go at me for being a misogynist. Just, you know, which is fine if that's what you think. I mean, my wife is the ambassador for Everton's hair game too, so for me to put anything on Twitter would be idiotic, even if I thought like Joey Barton. It would be idiotic just from a point of view, in terms of like it because of it's women's. No, it's not because women's. My opinion is, I don't want to see Goodison Park go downhill.
Yeah,
as in the upkeep of it. It's an old stadium. We love it, but we know it's come to the end of its time. We are celebrating it this year, deservedly so. But I don't like the idea of anybody playing in that stadium and there be no upkeep to it, and it to be a ground where Everton women's team isn't going to get 40,000 people watching, right? Oh. They've had like 10,000, which probably is around maybe what would be a good number. It's not getting 40,000, so then you're going to start closing parts of the ground down up at the top balcony, maybe the upper Bullens, maybe the upper Gladys Street. You're going to get people. You're going to get people going there at first, and then it drop off to maybe about 10,000, which would be amazing if the Everton women could get 10,000. Yeah. So I don't want to see Goodison Park fall into this situation where people are not going to it. It's not being used all the time. It's falling into maybe not disrepair, but the upkeep of it is like you're just patching it up and patching it up.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say. And this is the other side of it, if they decide they do have a plan for it and are going to build, say, so what you could do is you could leave. No, I'm not missing the point. If someone can tell me what the point is, because I'm not missing the point. A couple of people in the comments saying I'm missing the point. I'm not missing the point. I'm not missing the point. So if you're saying I'm missing the point, tell me what the point is, because I'm definitely not missing the point on this. So what I would suggest, what I would hope would happen is the park end remains, and they do something with the three other sides. The main stand for me would have to come down, because it's a relic. When they built the main stand, literally within about a year, maybe less, the technology changed. We were the first to have a three-tier stand, and within a year the technology changed to cantilever, so you wouldn't need posts. so I think that would have to come down.
Yeah.
Right? That would have to come down. The Bullens and the Gladys Street, could you work it so that they take the top two tiers off it, and then lower the roof? Maybe. But I definitely think the main stand would have to go. And this is for two reasons. Number one, Everton women's team deserves the best facilities they can get.
Yeah.
They don't deserve... Why would you just say, yeah, you go and play in that old stadium? For me, why is that like an acceptable thing? So for me, it's about turning it into if you're staying at Goodison, you'd have to change it. You couldn't keep it as it is because, as I said, you'd be just throwing away bad money. Yeah. You'd be patching something up. It's just throwing money away. Whereas you could build something. And maybe that's what Everton's idea is. Maybe Everton's idea is we own the land. It's Goodison Park, and within a couple of years, we'll start knocking stands down one by one and build it, because we're gonna knock it down anyway. And obviously, and someone mentioned it before, I think it was Sophie, what happened to the Everton project. When we put in planning permission for Bramley Moor, we put in planning permission for the Everton project, which is a project to help the local community, and people have sort of forgotten that with all different things. So there's if you're going to stay at Goodison Park, for me it has to be changed, because I just don't believe that the Goodison Park we're leaving, I just don't want to see it fall into like disrepair. I want the women's team to have a ground that
you can sort of be proud of in a way.
Yeah, that is their ground.
You make it their own.
Their ground. And it has all the best facilities. Women have different needs to men as well, you know, and that can be part of it. And that's just my opinion. That's not misogynist. I'm not being sexist or anything in that. I'm just talking about what Goodison Park is and what people need in the modern era, and that's why we're moving. People have said, well, and I sort of agree with this, is just let them play Bramley Moor then. And I agree with that. I've got no problem. The only problem with that is, I would say, is you're not getting 50,000 people into the stands. But what you could do is just have all the lower parts open. Yeah. So that would make it probably better. You've just had the lower. I'm not sure what the attendance is for just the lower parts, but you could just have the lower parts open for the women's team in Bramley Moor Dock.
Do you not think that sort of... And one of the main issues with Goodison is the fact that, you know, it's an old stadium and the upkeep is so expensive and that it's not really fit for purpose anymore. But say they play there for like a year or two and then they move on to their own actual stadium while that gets built, and sort of you keep the legacy of Goodison alive for a little bit longer, just so people can go and visit and see what it's like. And in the same breath, say you want to go see what Goodison's like, you can also see the women's team and sort of get more of an audience with the advertisement of Goodison Park's going. Yeah. But do you not think...
Isn't that what we've been doing this season, in a way, though, as well?
Not for the
Go on, continue.
Not for the women's team, though. I think it's a good way to get more people to go and watch them and then get interested into it.
See, I agree with you in a way, but I also...
Right now, you're not going to be able to get a ticket for the men's game. It's going to be very hard.
I know, but the women's team... Didn't the women's team already play there this season and only 10,000 turned up? Yeah, they did. Yeah. So the women's team have already played this season and 10,000 turned up.
But do you think the...
Everton under... Sorry. England under 21s played at Goodison and only something like 8,000 turned up. It's not the ground. It's not about the ground at times. It's about the occasion. That's what you've got to remember with Goodison Park. I was watching Man United yesterday, and Old Trafford has lost. It's still Old Trafford, but it's lost its soul, because the people who now go there aren't the people who used to go to the game. They are tourists.
Yeah.
And there's a few in the Stretford end but a lot of Man United fans have been priced out of it, or have moved on to FC United, or have just stopped because of the Glazers. It's not the ground, it's what the occasion is. So, you know, you could have, I don't know, you could have some kind of amazing occasion there. Doesn't mean people will necessarily go because they just want to go to Goodison Park. And that's what I fear with anything remaining. Whether Everton saying round and said next season, Everton under 21s, under 18s, women's team, women's under 21s, women's under 18s, we're all playing Goodison Park. We're keeping that alive. I don't think that will be.
No.
I don't think that will be enough. I think people will go. That's just my opinion. I'd like to hear other people's opinions.
For the money that it would cost, sort of, to get rid of them top stands, it'd probably just be better to just build a new stadium.
Well, the thing about it is, and this is the other side of it, there aren't many places, though, to build stadiums. See, that's why Walton Mill Park was such a good option for the women's team, was because it was already there. And I believe Everton tried to buy, or I'm led to believe, that Everton tried to buy more land, or tried to buy land there next to it, and tried to make it like a stadium and like an academy, for a training area for the and Liverpool City Council said no. So the problem is land in the city. Where would you have a stadium? Where could the Everton women play other than where they play now, or Bramley Moor? You end up with a situation where they're playing in Liverpool's women play at St Helens. They used to play at Tranmere. Everton's women used to play at Widnes and Southport and all these different places. So Goodison, I understand, because we own the land and it is our spiritual home. Yeah, and it will always be our spiritual home. So you could, so in terms of like, I fully get, it fully makes sense to me saying, let's rebuild Goodison. It's coming down anyway. Yeah. Let's be honest, if the Goodison project happens, it's coming down anyway. This way we can have, say, the Park End, maybe the Gladys Street as just one lower tier, maybe, if it could be like redesigned, obviously, and make it just a little bit more compact. I don't know. It's just an interesting thing, and I think if you have, like, if you got it down to maybe like, I don't know what you could get it down to, 20,000 or something, then maybe that would be an acceptable size as the game grows and more and people do go because it is Goodison Park. And people have said to me, I've took my daughter and that's how I introduced her to Everton. That's brilliant, but that has to be like all the time then, doesn't it? You can't just be like, you can't just do that as a one-off. If you're going to do it, you should do it properly. Be interesting, because I don't think it is a case of like whether you like Everton women or are bothered about Everton's women. I think it's a case of like what's important to like the ground and stuff. And don't get me wrong as well. Financially, it doesn't really matter for us. It only matters for the Friedkins. Yeah. PSR doesn't matter. It's not something that.
I think it fits into people, where you was talking about with John saying people that they have like sort of their rituals on a match day. Switching maybe Everton's men's team for the women's team could be an easy swap in someone's like ritual and might get more fans in a way. Because I think it sounds good, doesn't it, that maybe like a smaller Goodison Park still survives in like the area and like you can still sort of go, but I just don't know. It seems a bit. It seems a bit last minute as well, really.
No, it does, but I don't know whether what I would say, that's the other side of it, isn't it? It's like we've all geared up to leave Goodison Park, and now suddenly we're getting told, oh, there's a chance it might be staying. Yeah. And it's like, well, and then what's hard then is, because someone had a go at me saying that, well, Everton women is still Everton. But how do you separate those two things? Like, you have to, you have to separate those two things. Going the game week in and week out and watching Everton play doesn't have the same emotion. Has a completely different emotional attachment to Everton women. Of course it does. Everton women have only been going for 20 odd years or so. Everton, the men's team, obviously we've been following all our lives, and it's been going for over over 145 years. They're completely different. People live and die by one team, and the other one people just simply don't, and that's just a fact. And it doesn't, it's just a simple fact. So for it just to say that, it might be staying in this form, I just wonder how people look at that and think,
yeah,
I don't know. See, for me at the end of the season, like I said before, I think for me it's a case of like, this is the end. This is the end.
Yeah.
Everton played their last game against Southampton, and as far as I'm concerned, that's it. That's the end.
That's it done.
That, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same. That is the end. I've seen people say, well, you could still have the stadium tours, but how long is all that stuff sustainable at a ground that you're no longer playing at? This year, Everton are trading on nostalgia. Of course they are, because it's our last season at the ground before we move to... But people are excited about the new ground, and the new ground will have, like, I imagine would have a museum and stuff in it and different things. People are getting excited about that, and I just don't see that many people rocking up to go to a tour at Goodison, and then if there is a tour at Goodison and people aren't going, or it's not, then how long is that sustainable for? Do you know what I mean? It's like, and then I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing, because we own the land and there's an opportunity. But then again, it's like, even if we knock the stands down, like, can new stands fit in that pit? Like, would you have to move the pitch over? And if you move the pitch over, then the park end doesn't fit in with it, does it? So it's like, do you have to, like, can you build another Bullens in that space? Is there enough space? You'd have to do like a cantilever. Is there enough space for a cantilever with a road there? The same with the main stand. If you knock the main stand down, is there enough room to build like a smaller cantilever stand? And the same, there's only... You could move the ground back into the parking car park, but that means you have to knock the parking down. Yeah, so you have to basically restart with 4 new stands, don't you? And then is it Goodison? That's the thing, isn't it? Then is it still Goodison? Is it your Goodison? Is it the Goodison you sat in, all your life or whatever? As I said, Goodison to me is what it is right now, and I just don't think that. As I said, I just don't think that it's not. I just don't feel like. Why is it acceptable for the men's team to move to Bramley-Moore Dock, but then the women's team move in there with with those facilities?
I think if it was to make sense, they'd have to just basically make a new Goodison Park, wouldn't they? I think this one's clearly not fit for purpose, so why would they also have to use it? Yeah, and you couldn't have it that big either, because the upkeep and stuff would just be far too much. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because what would they do? Because that article just said they were considering it, didn't they?
Well, they are considering it. It's one of the things, like I've said. It's not.
Because it'd be nice, wouldn't it, to just sort of have a memory of Goodison, but you just couldn't have it that big.
No, well, that's the other thing about it, isn't it? That's the other thing about it. Everton women's average attendance is, well, not average attendance, their attendance is 2,500. That's because that's what the ground holds now, and that's one of the reasons why they've got to move. If there was a way of, Walnut Park would be the perfect ground for them if they could expand it, but they can't expand it because they have to expand it into a public park, and that's just not going to happen. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons. It would be perfect, but 2,500 enough. Everton have played at Goodison Park. I've been to one of the games when they played Liverpool. It was a lovely, really nice occasion. They drew 1-1. It was a really good occasion. I think they played in this year and they won 1-0. And again, I think it was about 10,000. So let's just say you're going off that 10,000, right? 10,000 are going to turn up. I'm not saying they're going to turn up week in and week out, but let's just say 10,000 turn up. That means at Goodison right now, there would be 29,000 seats empty. That's a lot of seats, and it doesn't create an atmosphere. And I've seen we've all seen, well, when Goodison, they'll shut certain parts of it, so obviously the top balcony will shut and the top levels will shut. It just doesn't have the same feel.
Yeah.
And it is it's an old stadium. And, you know, it doesn't generate an atmosphere the same way. So it's an interesting one. The Friedkins are obviously prepared to put money into Everton women, and that's good.
Yeah, they signed loads of players, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, but
yeah. And then the other side of it is this Everton project, Goodison project, sorry, which was offset for the community. It was, as I said, when we put Bramley Moore planning permission, and we put planning permission in for this, and it offers so much to the community. So are Everton going to go back on that? Now, of course, there's different owners, so different owners will have different ideas on things. Yeah. So are they going to go back on that? Are they going? So we were always set to lose Goodison as it is now. Of course, it wasn't going to be replaced by a housing estate or a car park or a supermarket. It was going to be knocked down. Obviously, the church would remain, and part of the Everton bits and pieces would remain. So we were always set to leave it. But I've seen people saying, you know, I'd love that. Love to go to Goodison. Take me kids there, but I don't know. I just personally, for me, I think it's for Goodison right now. I think the Everton women's team going there. I think it's a non-starter personally, as it is. 39,000.
The only way is say if it was like a year or two whilst another stadium was getting built. But how quick can you get another stadium? But how quick can you find the land and stuff? Isn't it?
Well, I mentioned this to someone at Everton last week, just jokingly, but not joking really. Buy the next dock, build an arena, and let them play inside there. Put an indoor ground in inside, or have a retractable roof. Cost a fortune, but wouldn't just be used for that. It'd be used for lots of different things. Why not? But as I said, they could play at Bramley Moor and just use all the lower bits. So that way, if you get a good atmosphere that way as well. So interesting to what people have to say about this. Benji says the only reason I didn't want to move was because I didn't want to say goodbye to Goodison. If we can move to a new stadium and keep Goodison around, that would be ideal. Would it be ideal though? Would it just not be a museum to the past? Spruce says, afternoon lads, I hope Ed is feeling better. Hello. I think the break was good for the players, but I did miss no match at the weekend, although not sure I could handle an Everton win and John Cena turning heel on the same day. It's rocked the world. It's rocked the world. What John Cena did at the weekend. Yeah. Very much like Danny out of McFly.
I know, yeah, he's went mental as well.
He's gone heel, hasn't he? Gary Ward says one reason for the new stadium is the upkeep costs of Goodison. Absolutely. Michael Wood says, can the men's team sell the women's team Goodison Park?
Sure.
If it was Chelsea, we would, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
If it was Chelsea, we probably would do that. So that's a really good point. I'm sure someone will tell us. Dave Witch says, Marine currently in the process of looking to move to a new four-sided stadium in early stages of planning, currently closed, costed at 8 million, all so they can look at kicking on as they can't win with a three-sided ground. Surely makes more sense for Everton to piggyback on that project.
Isn't their problem that they can't expand it?
Yeah, well they've got the plans and the location for where they want to move.
Oh, like go to Marine's new stadium with them.
So maybe that's what Dave's saying. Well, Dave, that's an interesting one because Could we not have a situation? And again, I'm just putting this out there. But could we not have a situation where you could have a Marine, or I know City of Liverpool trying to build a new ground as well. Yeah. Because they tried to get a new ground on Edge Lane, and they wouldn't allow them, even though it's a perfect location. It doesn't make any sense. So, see, Barcelona, I remember showing Baz this a few years ago, and you think you can find it online. Barcelona built a ground for their B team and their women's team. I think it cost about 12 million. It's on the outskirts of like Barcelona, and basically the B team, under 21s, and women's team share this ground. But the women have completely different facilities than the men do, so they don't share facilities. Because me and Baz have often spoke about, why don't the under 21s play at Everton women's? Now I know Everton women's team don't really like the fact that the under 21s and stuff have used their ground. But when you think about it, it would make sense if Everton did have a multi-purpose, like Manchester City do. Yeah. Because Everton, I'll never, ever, ever understand why Everton play Southpaw for the under 21s. I'll never understand that. Because I know Everton have paid out money for like the upkeep of the pitch and stuff. And like in a community spirit, that's sound. Yeah. I get that. But why don't Everton, if they do this, go, right, this is going to be the home of the under 21s, the under 18s, and the women's. But the women's team are going to have all their own facilities. So we'll build 2 sets of changing rooms. And as I said, if you look at online, look at Barcelona's, that's what Barcelona, and their stadium, it's a boss little stadium, by the way. Why not do that? Why not use this opportunity? And now that means staying at Goodison and rebuilding it. Yeah. And that's like the legacy. Then that sounds like a really good idea to me. That does sound like a good idea to me. The under 21s especially, because you never know where they're playing. No. They're either playing a Finch Farm or they're playing Southport or blah blah blah. Give them, and like Manchester City have done. You look at Manchester City and you look at their, I know it's all on the Etihad campus, so it's slightly different. But the fact that like their women's team has its own stadium, it's got its own like naming rights for the stadium. We could do something similar.
The Co-op Live as well, which would go to your thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they have got the Co-op Live. They've got everything, haven't they? Yeah. But if you're going to do it, so if Everton do build a new stadium for the women's team, then for me it would have to be somewhere where the under 21s played as well, because it just makes sense. Yeah. If you're going to have facilities that are used, Everton women play mostly Sundays. Under 21s play mostly Friday nights. Under 18s play mostly Saturday mornings. It makes complete sense to me that you would have a ground where people, and that way, imagine Everton, a new stadium at Goodison. You were going there let's say three times a week, and that means 3 times a week you get an opportunity to use a new stadium. 3 times a week the people come into the area. 3 times a week people are going the pub, the shop, the chippy, whatever it is. 3 times a week people are coming through, paying money to come through the gates at Goodison Park. That to me is an idea I could fully get behind, massively get behind. What, like, I'll keep repeating myself. What I can't get behind is someone just going, they're playing at Goodison Park now, and it only have like 10,000 people there at most. Paul says Everton women average attendance is 1,800. Let them go to Southport like the under 21s. No, why? It's 2025. It's 2025. We should have. We need our new. We need something new. We need something fresh. We need a stadium that all our teams can play in. Why are we sending teams to Southport's not Liverpool? It's not Liverpool. It's miles away. Martin says, couldn't they adopt it to women's and under 21s? Yeah, but that's what we just said. I think it's a good opportunity. I think it's a good opportunity if you were to make it as a, like, you know,
Yeah, I think if you just leave it at Goodison though, and it does sort of like the standards fall even lower inside the Goodison, then I think it's a really bad look for them.
You can only keep putting new coats of paint on Goodison,
Yeah,
can't you?
that's what I mean.
That's the thing. You can put, like, don't forget, Goodison as it is right now has the massive things on the outside, doesn't it? The sheets and stuff, you know. So underneath that is a old building, and it got, and even that's looking tired now.
Yeah.
Even all that's looking tired. That was supposed to be just that obviously was put on to that skin was put on to just make it look a little bit better. But even that is getting a little bit tired.
Because, for instance, looking at like Goodison Park on the wall there, say they didn't use that top tier and they just used the bottom and they didn't knock it down, and you see everything, like the paint chip and everything.
Yeah.
It just looks like the standards have just dropped so low, and just be such a bad look on the women's game as a whole.
And I'm not sure when it kicks in. I think it's 7,000. I got told this by someone who follows Everton women. I did ring around a couple of people and try and find out what the situation was. But I'm not sure. But I know for the women, that's one of the things they're trying to bring in. I think it's 7,000. It's got to be the attend. Like you've got to be able to accommodate 7,000. Because obviously, if they're trying to, the other thing with the women's Super Leaguers, and I think I seen this yesterday, someone scored and the ball like went over the line and it wasn't given, and now obviously they're complaining, saying why don't we have goal line tech as the minimum? Well, things like, again, goal line tech and maybe the use of VAR and all that kind of thing within the women's game, you have to have stadiums that can do that. You know, you have to have stadiums. And anyone who's seen like Walton Park's got like one like nice little stand, and the other three sides are just standing area next to fencing. It's not.
But looking at the average attendances, Everton's is the lowest by far.
See, and that's the other side of things. Just seeing Philip saying the Everton women's team have a small attendance now, but other teams have been able to increase their attendances. Arsenal's have gone up from 17 to 13 and 34 in 2 seasons. I think Arsenal are a massive sort of outlier when it comes to the women's. Go on, talk us through it.
So Everton are bottom with 1,200. Then if going up further to the 5th place is Liverpool, who have 6,200. And then top by 22,000 is Arsenal with 32,000 average attendance. Yeah. I'm guessing they play at
Highbury. They play Emirates.
Emirates, yeah.
Yeah, they play Emirates now. They started sharing. The other thing about it is, though, what you've got to remember is, certainly for Bramley Moore Dock, is it has to be worth... Everton would have to look at it and go, is it worth us?
Yeah, with the cost of a match day.
The cost of a match day, having the team here. Now that would come down to maybe having an event. I would say if you're going to have the Everton women's team at Bramley Moore Dock, you open all the lower tiers and then you see what happens.
Yeah.
If it sells out, then you say, all right, we're opening the back of the south stand, or then we're opening this or that or whatever. I think Arsenal are a massive outlier. Arsenal nuts. Their fans are nuts on. They get. And listen, Arsenal fans get properly like There's a reason why Arsenal bring out a new merch line every month, because their fans just buy it.
Yeah,
they buy it. They just buy everything. They get involved in everything. They're mad. They're honestly mad. Mikey John says, what about the Winslow, Hot Walk, etc. would be the same as a match day, but surely would help local businesses. Well, the Winslow's becoming a hotel, so it's not going to be a pub soon. And the Hot Walk is moving down to the Bramley Moor, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think for a local area, I don't think you can just say, well, if Everton stay, that's all fine. I think that area needs a proper plan. It can't just be going, well, if Everton women play here every couple of weeks, we'll be fine. It won't be fine, will it? It won't be fine. It has to be there has to be a proper plan for that area. Simple as that. Yeah. I think definitely if you can knock 3 sides down and keep the pitch it is and build stands, then you do that. If you can't, then you knock all 4 stands down and you go further back into the car park and you build but then you do that.
Yeah, I think the main thing is they'll have to knock it down. I don't think Goodison.
Yeah, I just don't think they can keep Goodison as it is. I just don't think they can. I think a lot of people would like them to, or like us to.
How long do you think it takes for a stadium to get knocked down? Like, how long do you reckon it would, like, say they were just getting rid of Goodison completely, how long do you think it would be until it's just gone?
Less than a year.
Do you reckon, yeah?
Yeah, easy. The only problem with Goodison is that 3 sides of it are roads.
Yeah.
So
houses and stuff.
You'd have to like block off the roads and stuff. But now you can pretty much like knock stuff down and it come down where it is.
Yeah.
Like you can do that now.
Angle the bomb.
Eddie says, are the Everton women's team still under threat of being relegated? No.
They're doing well now, aren't they?
They're doing better, but there's a team who are bottom of the league who are so far bottom that they've got no issues. They're winning games. Basically. Dave Rich says Arsenal offer credits to the men's game for purchasing women's games tickets to incentivise attendances. Yeah. Oh. Don't tell people that though, Dave, because our games would be sold out and no one would be there if it meant people getting like away credits.
What if you have to buy a ticket and then because you have to scan it, you have to scan the ticket as well?
So you have to go in.
You have to use the ticket to get the benefit.
Well, maybe if the way tickets are going with digital tickets, they'll probably start doing that soon anyway. If you bought a ticket for an away game and you didn't use it, they'll probably not give you the credit soon. Yeah. But I'm just more interested in what, like, I know loads of people are saying about like the women's team, but how do you actually feel about actually Goodison though? Like do you want Southampton to be like the final game of Goodison Park? Have you put yourself in an emotional state where you know Goodison Park is the last game, and therefore, if it gets carried on afterwards, is that some kind of like, are you being cheated in some ways? I want to know what people think about that. Gordon says, think Goodison needs rebuilt for women's football and youth teams, but I like the idea. Also, it's my birthday today. I mean, Gordon, it being your birthday today has got nothing to do with anything. Happy birthday, Gordon.
That's a bit harsh.
He just crowbarred it in, but fair play. I like it. Happy birthday. Sophie says Southampton needs to be the last game. Nathan says it can't be knocked down till I've actually make a game, and it isn't cancelled on me. Oh, Nathan, didn't Seamus Coleman fly you in? Yeah. What, you need to get on the telly, lad, and start going. Should have done it better. Emma says to take tears off would take more than a year. No, it would, Emma, and I'll be honest, I'm not really into the tears thing. I'd just rather Everton rebuilt it. If I'm perfectly honest, I'll be honest, I just think they should knock the whole place down. If I'm perfectly honest, just knock the whole place down. Because at the end of the day, look at Anfield's got 4 new sides. In the last 25 years, it's had 4.
You can tell though when you look at it.
No, but it's had 4 new sides, so it's still, those stands are still where the other stands were, but it's had 4 new stands, so it's, why couldn't we do something similar to Goodison? Why couldn't we knock the whole, we'd have to knock it all down anyway, let's be honest. No point taking roofs off and all that kind of thing. And then you go, well, then we might as well just knock the parking down and make it one complete, like stadium. Wilmo says it's a bit like your family moving out of the family home. Your family is moving on to a new home, but another family are going to be creating new memories in your old home. No, it's not. It's nothing like that whatsoever, if I'm honest. Sorry, Wilmo. It's not like that.
I think the idea of it's nice, isn't it? Though that like sort of the legacy of that area continues through that. But
yeah, it keeps Everton in Walton in a way, doesn't it? It keeps Everton, and that's why I've said.
And if they are struggling for land, then it's a great opportunity, really.
Yeah.
And say you could keep like the Park End or something.
Patricia says I would go and watch Everton women at Goodison Park to keep it up. It's all I've known for 63 years. No, I get that, Patricia. I really do. But would you want to see an Everton team playing in a half-empty Goodison Park whilst Goodison Park becomes more and more and more and more sort of decrepit? That's what I'm saying. Wilmo, it's not, mate, because it's still another family living in your house is just that house benefiting another family. We're still talking about like Everton, aren't we? We're talking about Everton.
Aren't we?
And we're still it's still our house. It's still our house. It's just someone else in the family's using it. Philip says no matter what happens, the game against Southampton is the last game. The men's first team won't play a competitive game there again, so it won't feel the same for me. Georgia Simo says, I'm taking my seat with me at Southampton, so if there's a women's team playing there, they'll have to replace most seats. Yeah, there is that as well. Maybe it was just put out there to try and stop people from taking the seats. It won't happen. David says, I've already said goodbye to Goodison once the Southampton game is over. That is it. But I'd love the Bullens to be preserved, not for football use, but as a historical football stand. Put a big glass case around it. Kieran says, what if the new family put up one of those obnoxious talking doorbells?
The rings.
Ring ones. Do you ever hear someone in your, like next door, I've got one to me, and sometimes I hear it, and it's like, so, and it's basically, you can just hear everything that's going on. It's mad.
I would have put you down to one of them.
Why?
I don't know, I feel like you like gadgets and that, don't you?
I know, but it's a fucking doorbell.
I know, but I just feel like you'd like the idea of
I don't want to encourage people to knock on my door.
But it's not encouraging.
It is.
If anything, it's a deterrent.
It's encouraging people to knock on my door. They're like, oh, look at his boss ring bell.
Do you want to FaceTime with you?
Yeah, look at his boss ring doorbell. He wants me to ring that bell. Whereas I'm like, do us a favour, mate. Fuck off. Yeah, I don't want people. Paul, I haven't started watching the second season of 1923. There's been I had to finish Yellowstone first, and I only finished it the other day. There's too much on at the moment. I've started watching Say Nothing. That's quite good. And it's filmed in Walton. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's filmed in Walton. But me and James, we were talking about before, we are watching Severance, and we are agreeing that it is probably one of the greatest TV shows of all time.
Yeah.
And it's on right now. It's utterly amazing. Emma says, hate them bloody ring doorbells. Both my neighbours have them spying on me. That's it, Emma. They're just trying to get when you walk past, they're trying to get you from every angle. But why wouldn't you if you live next door to a goth?
That's true. Get a glimpse of it going out.
Mark Cody says, will the senior team play friendlies in the new ground? Yeah, because it's the new ground. Where else would they play friendlies? That's exactly where they'll play them, because that's our new ground. I've watched Penguin, Liam. I've watched it. It's tremendous. It's a tremendous show. What else have we got here? Gordon, I mean, it wasn't an unexpected mention, because you put something in the comments, so therefore it's not an unexpected mention. If you put something in the comments on Toffee TV Premier, it'll be read out. So it wasn't unexpected. You put it was your birthday, and I said, who cares that it's your birthday? Doesn't really matter, does it? Let's be honest. The world keeps spinning. But I still wish them a happy birthday. But thanks for being here, Gordon. Thanks for being
really
here.
Matters.
No, that's what all that matters.
What do you think about it in 97,000?
97,000 is good because it's on the way to 100,000.
The path there.
It's the path, innit? We're on the path. Lots of people are messaging me about TV shows now because they know they've caught us in that TV show thing. I am excited about Daredevil. I am very excited. Yeri also, if you are trying to run and you're getting pains or your knees are hurting, it means you're not cut out for running. Give it up. Leave the pavements to experts like myself. I don't know what I can... Go and see a doctor. That's all I would say. Go and see a doctor.
Lose weight.
Yeah. No, John, you can't say stuff like that. You can't say lose weight. You can't say he's fat. Stop it, John Blaine.
I didn't say that. You did.
Know what you need to do if you're having problems. I'll show you what you need to do. Buy trainees like that. Look at that wedge on that. Buy really, really good wedged trainees.
Clean ones.
That's because these are Gore-Tex though, John. The Gore-Tex, fantastic for the winter.
He's sponsored.
Gore-Tex is not... They're hot, they're hooker. Gore-Tex is a brand...
No, but just the way you thought about them was like you was trying to sell them.
No. Just saying. Yeah, apparently we're getting a rugby league game.
I saw that, yeah.
Apparently it's sorted, John. I don't know.
This morning.
Apparently. I've seen a couple of people say it's done, but... I've said that before, though. I've heard that we were getting the rugby league anyway, one of the Ashes games. I've heard that for a while. So, anything that brings people to the ground, new revenue is good, isn't it? Is good. So, there you go. Let John sit down for 5 minutes, and I'm gonna ask him about Goodison. Come on,
John,
go on, jump in, John. Go on, don't worry, just get in. Just walk round, sit down. Last 5 minutes, I'll ask John. It's a different person.
check that WhatsApp.
Oh, you can send them the WhatsApp now that I deleted because I thought I was getting weird spam messages through my WhatsApp the other day because nobody told me that you were using my WhatsApp to send each other messages.
We've done this a few times on your WhatsApp.
I know, but the other ones I was in a coma.
What?
Friday I wasn't.
You've had a cold.
I haven't had more than a cold.
You had a cold.
I wouldn't be off with a cold. So, John, we are talking about the future of Goodison Park.
Yeah.
Talk that the Everton women may be going there as part of... One of the reasons I found out was that apparently... Or two reasons. Reason one, Women's Super League want all teams to have a ground that can hold at least 7,000 people.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that Everton don't own Walton Park and are not putting any more money into it, will not put any more money into it. So they are looking at...
What's the capacity down there?
2,500.
It's nothing, is it?
So they're looking at other areas. Obviously, Goodison Park is what we own. So what are your thoughts on this?
Sure.
What?
Stick on your top.
That's his Amazon sticker. He's
I'll open your Toffee for you.
So what are your thoughts, John, on the prospect of Goodison Park remaining?
My default, without the little bit of background you just gave about WSL want everyone to have a certain capacity ground sort of thing. Maybe Premier League should do that. We wouldn't have to go to little sheds, would we?
Oh, I firmly believe that. I don't... There's no way if you have a ground like Bournemouth, you should automatically give 3,000 tickets to the away fans, no matter what.
And that would motivate them.
It would motivate them.
Yeah. Because if you're going to have a WSL team, maybe hopefully one day 7,000 will be too small. Sort of
Yeah.
You're 3,000 or 4,000 short of what Bournemouth have.
Yeah.
It was mad.
Yeah.
So anyway, without the backgroundy bit, my first reaction was, that's never going to happen, is it? That was it. That's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah.
It's a big old building.
Yeah.
Very heavy maintenance. You can't just have a football pitch there. I mean, what would you do? You know, yeah, sure, you could knock it all down and build a lovely little cute, maybe 15,000 seater stadium, but that leads more towards your build it in the Nelson Dock then.
Yeah.
So I don't know who originated the story, but I'm just guessing a question was asked and the answer was, well, considering these things.
Yeah.
When I asked Colin Chong a number of months ago, what was going on with that. And this will probably prove the point in some respects, I guess. The bit of his answer I remember was, but we've got 5 years to sort that out. Because I guess that my take on that, rightly or wrongly, and Col, I've rung you a couple of times, mate.
He does watch.
Yeah. Rightly or wrongly was that, we've all seen artist impressions and all those sorts of things. But if you reply, we've got 5 years to satisfy the planning application, then it may very well be all we will do is satisfy the planning application, which is to do something.
Yeah.
But part of that story, I think, was that the Friedkin group are, interested in investing in the women's team and stuff like that. But unless you get quotes from people, you can't validate anything. It might just be slow news day type stuff. It'd be nice and romantic to see age groups playing there or what have you. But I can't imagine what you could do to it short of knocking it down. That would allow you to get down to 7,000.
Well, we were just saying then that
you don't just want 7,000 people behind one goal.
No. Well, we've just been saying
be a proper stadium.
We've just been saying then, surely the ground as it is now, you wouldn't be able to rebuild it on the current footprint, as in where the pitch is. For new building techniques, you wouldn't be able to build the Bullens as it is. You wouldn't be able to build the main stand as it is, because the cantilever bits would come over.
That's right.
So then you'd have to probably knock the park down and move towards the car park.
Yeah. You recite it. Lots of a phrase, but you'd say this is the space we've got. But I don't know where we're at. Have we settled the mortgages on all that land, and is it ours to play with now, and what have you? I remember Joe Anderson, bless him if he's still around, but yonks ago saying if you literally just knocked it down and then sold the land for some development or other, you wouldn't get much for it anyway.
No.
It's not exactly prime real estate, is it? So maybe we just have to wait logically for the new stadium to be fired up, and then inevitably people will start asking questions, what's happened with that one now?
Yeah.
And it can't just be left to ruin.
No.
Scallies will get in there and all sorts of things anyway, so because that's what Scallies do. So I don't know what the plans are, and can ask again at the next meeting with the club, but I don't think they know, so they can't tell us, can they?
No, as I said, I spoke to someone at the club last week, and they just said to me, it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's one of the things.
Yeah.
So obviously
Undoubtedly.
it depends how quickly the WSL want to bring this.
Well, that was going to be my question. If WSL are saying that's what they want, then by when?
Yeah. I know, but
are they really going to throw Everton or Liverpool or whoever out of the WSL because the stadium's too
you'd
small?
think that would be like a 5-year thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because you can't just go and build stadiums.
No, it's not just Everton. There's going to be obviously other teams, and I know there's other stuff going on with WSL to try to improve it so that it's not Chelsea or Arsenal running away with it. And obviously, if Arsenal can get 30,000 every game, then obviously they're going to have much better budgets and better players and all the rest of it. So, yeah, it's just an interesting one. I just think there's a...
Do Arsenal get 30,000 every game? Do they always play at the Emirates?
Yeah.
All right.
They've made that decision to move
there.
There
You go. Well, make a decision just to play it.
But we've just saying you could play Bramley Moor and just open all of the lower parts of it, couldn't you?
It'd be interesting to know what the capacity is.
No,
just
we haven't.
The lower.
Yeah, we haven't been told that. So they could open all the lower parts and just do it that way. But of course, they'd have to factor that in. It's just an interesting thing because we all thought that the Goodison Legacy project was going to be what was happening, but this has sort of thrown something in the mix.
No, I mean, Baxendale and co were just Imagineering, weren't they? So I'd have to revisit documents. And Steve Carlisle, you're watching, mate, perhaps you could do it. Steve, or me or someone, revisit the documents, but lots of the stuff, a bit like transport, was quite vague, right? So there'll be no feet held to the fire about you said you were going to do this, because we've heard about medical centres, this, that, and the other, and the hub of the legacy that Everton will leave behind anyway is all relatively new, with the school and the mental health centres and all those sorts of things. But the grand old lady needs to either be put in the ground and just tarmacked over or grassed over or something, or they need to walk the talk on really making a proper legacy there.
Yeah. No, I agree. It can't stay as it is.
I mean,
for me.
keeping at least one or maybe two of the stands would be nice. The two Leach ones, but
It
you can
would,
see the
but-
main stand going and Park End will go. Because why would you keep them? There's nothing
No.
to keep them for, is there?
No, I don't think there's anything to keep the other two for. I'm just not that romantic about them in terms of like they're there, aren't they?
Aren't they officially community assets, or is the whole stadium one of those?
No, I don't think it is. Just
It
think
got
it's-
recognised, didn't it? So maybe there's a bit more of a challenge trying to knock it down than there would have been if it was just, well, we're finished now, we'll knock it over.
I've not heard anything like that. Certainly not with the Everton Legacy project as it was, the Goodison Legacy project. It looked like all the stands were basically coming down. So yeah. Anyway, well there it is.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's really that bothered. if I'm perfectly honest, most people are a bit like,
Where have the viewers been at?
most of them are the same. Just redevelop it. If we're going to stay there, redevelop it, but
Sure.
don't leave it as it is because it's.
No, it'd be sad.
It would be sad. I know people have got this idea that like, we can go every. It wouldn't happen.
No.
It just wouldn't happen. All eyes are down there now. Bramley Moor. That's our home and.
The
Goodison.
main road is housing and a bit of grass where the centre spot was, so you can go and stand on it if you want. And I think Tony Buck, when he was going to his final resting place, he's dropped off there because obviously that's where he won things and stuff. Roker Park, no idea what that is. We know what Highbury is. It's expensive.
Yes. List the building, wasn't it? So.
Tottenham's obviously morphed into what's there now.
Yeah.
Who else is there?
Yeah.
Who else has done it? Middlesbrough. It was Brownfield, wasn't there? So there wasn't, I guess Thurston Park just got knocked down, and presumably
The
that's
Dell.
houses.
The Dell just got knocked down.
Yeah,
didn't it?
I mean, because lots of these older grounds were quite close to, residential areas, weren't they? So you can just imagine that Goodison eventually gets knocked down, and they will build some social housing there or something.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Last couple of comments. Rob, the East Belfast Toffee, says the last game at Goodison should be a charity game featuring legends of the club. There aren't any legends of the club that can run around anymore, so there just aren't. No, the last game at Goodison Park, my opinion, is the Southampton game.
I agree.
That's it. No other games, no nothing.
That's it.
That's the last. That's how I want to remember Goodison Park as far. And I've mentally built myself up to that point.
No, I think that's right. And for the fans around the world who are making almost pilgrimages, imagine you save all your pennies up for the last 3 years, so you manage to get a ticket, and then someone's, well, actually, it's not the last game.
Exactly, yeah.
We're doing this other one in a couple of months' time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a very emotional final day, that needs to be it. Certainly, I'll never go in the stadium ever again after that game. I don't care if they do put
Yeah.
legends or whatever games on, I just won't go.
Yeah, fair enough. And Gordon says, on another note, I'm flying over from Northern Ireland on Thursday to do the Goodison tour. If anyone is interested in meeting up with a Northern Irish toffee, I might bring some Irish chocolate ped. That sounds like a weird sort
Got
of
you
like...
sorted.
That sounds like a sort of like,
It's a bribe.
What, you're going to wear like a little red rose?
It's a bribe.
Meet you over our eyes locked over
No, we'll have a
dairy
big
milk.
bag of sweets for you.
Here you go. I just turn around. Thanks, Monday. Enjoy your tour. And again, that's
Is that you saying no?
No. I don't want to give them any more leggy. Again, like something like a tour. That's great. Wow, we're still playing here. I don't think that tour makes any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Once we've stopped playing,
Haunted house, then, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Right, there we go. Christmas says we've all been through so much building a new stadium for the future. It's sad to say goodbye to Goodison, but we need to let it go and look to the future.
Spot on.
Kieran says chocolate is a code word here, Pedden Island. There you go, fair play.
My boggles.
Emma says, would I get kicked out for scattering some ashes at Goodison before it goes? Emma, it depends whose ashes you're scattering. Is it just,
She hasn't decided yet.
one of your victims?
No. But you speak to the club, don't you? And they sort it anyway.
Fletcher, there's no news on naming rights.
Waiting for the chief executive.
I was going to say, that'd be for a job for the new chief exec, wouldn't it? All that kind of thing. That's his basic purpose, isn't it? Because that's what he's for. Yeah, there you go. Right, thank you for all your well wishes. Baz will be back tomorrow for the housewives. We'll catch you then. See you later.
Take care.